is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. It is Sunday, June 28th, 2020, and I am back with a rare part threes of the podcast. They're very rare these days. I've been doing Friday and Saturday and taking off on Sunday. But with the exhausting week that was WWE, I needed to do a part 3. It's all about COVID. It's all about WWE's negligence with their employees. It's about superstars leaking emails about WWE's protocols in regards to the coronavirus. It's just so much. It's been an exhausting week for a lot of people in and out of wrestling. But today, I actually have wrestling news. I have news on the actual direction of the creative process. I have news on the product. So it should be a good show. Short and abbreviated after what we talked about on Friday and Saturday. But I have news for your Sunday afternoon. So we're going to go over the SmackDown ratings, the overnight ratings, not the legit ratings, but the overnight ratings, and what the Undertaker tribute did for the SmackDown ratings on Friday, and how WWE could possibly, if they wanted to, take a look at this. And I'm not saying go and show old classic matches, but if WWE really needed to take a 2-week break and quarantine and get everybody right and then have all of this pass and make sure everybody's healthy and testing negative, that stuff like this could be able to get them through all of this nonsense with the coronavirus. And Fox should really be okay with it. They really should be okay with it. I know that WWE wants to produce new content. I know that they don't want Fox to go back and renegotiate their deal. But if this is any indication about what the current audience thinks of the current product, WWE probably is better off doing what they did on Friday night. So we'll go over the overnight ratings with SmackDown. Also coming out of SmackDown, you're not going to believe this story. This is absolutely ridiculous. He is absolutely ridiculous. Baron Corbin, because I'm not calling him king. The king gimmick failed. Everything that Baron Corbin did has failed. King Corbin failed. Constable Corbin failed. The original version of Baron Corbin failed. Baron Corbin is a failure. Baron Corbin has hit his ceiling in the WWE. Nobody has any interest in Baron Corbin. But apparently, Baron Corbin is unhappy with WWE planning a feud for him with Matt Riddle. He's unhappy about feuding with Matt Riddle. And we'll go over those reasons why he's upset starting a feud with Matt Riddle today on the show. Also, WWE added Sasha Banks and Io Shirai to NXT's Wednesday's Great American Bash. Why? How? How does this play into the Sasha Asuka situation? What is the likely outcome of this situation? We'll go over that as well today on Off the Script. Major star campaigning to work in NXT, and I mean a major star campaigning to work in NXT. Backstage details. Listen to this, folks. This is the big one. Backstage details on who WWE has planned for Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam, which will undoubtedly end the reign of Drew McIntyre. We'll go over the injury to Charlotte Flair, amongst other things, and what Impact Wrestling is doing to bring in Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows. So I got a big show lined up for you today right here on part 3 of Off the Script. Now, I tend to talk about video games from time to time. Right now I'm playing The Last of Us on Twitch. I'm enjoying it for the 6 hours that I put into the game. It's difficult. It's fun. I love sneaking around, stabbing clickers in the throat with my rusty knife. It's great. It's great. But if you guys are in the video game community and you guys are in the video game realm, Obviously, you know of Dr. Disrespect. Now, this story is something that I've been monitoring. Now, I don't even watch him like that. I don't watch any streamer like that, really. I don't. But I do tune in, and I do leave him on in the background from time to time because he, just like me, is entertaining. And I love the personality. I love the charisma. I love the character that is Dr. Disrespect. And if you guys heard this story, apparently Twitch had banned him permanently off of their entire platform. Now, Dr. Disrespect is somebody that actually just signed a lucrative to play games, lucrative, exclusive contract with Twitch to stay on their platform. If you guys know Tyler Bevins, he went over to Mixer. That's Ninja. He went over to Mixer. Mixer closed down. They kind of joined forces with Facebook Gaming, and that left him and his contract up in the air with Mixer. So now he has no exclusive platform to stream Fortnite on. So Twitch seen Ninja leave, and they seen all these other people leave from Mixer because they thought it was the next cool, best thing. And that left Dr. Disrespect as the number one man on Twitch, and they wanted to lock him down. But he was on live stream the other day, and he was watching what looked to be a children's game. It reminded me of Minecraft. And I don't know exactly what the name of the game was, but somebody asked him, are you going to play this on the next couple of streams? It's fun. You should really check it out. So he checked it out. He was watching it. And then at the same time, he was talking about well-known conspiracy theorist David Icke. And he was talking about a documentary, apparently, that he has on one of the streaming platforms. I'm not sure if it was Hulu or Netflix. I believe it was Netflix. David Icke documentary. And someone asked him about it, and he was like, yeah, I watched it. It's very interesting. And he didn't really get into what was talked about, but he did say it was very interesting. And he then, at the end of the stream, looked at his phone, and his demeanor changed completely from what was going on previously, about 10 minutes prior. He looked at his phone, and he said, life is weird. Champions will get through this. We'll get through this. Oh, fuck. I'm out of here. And that was it. Signed off the stream. He went to his typical ending. And that was it. Hasn't said anything since until last night. He says this on Twitter. Champions Club, Twitch has not identified the reason why they suspended him or banned him. They didn't give him a firm decision at all. And he says, handshakes for all the support during this difficult time. Dr. Disrespect. So Twitch didn't even let him know why they took him off the platform. They just took him off the platform. Now, he was actually exposed for cheating on his wife. He's married. He's got kids. He was exposed for cheating on his wife at a TwitchCon. He then got suspended off Twitch last year, I believe, from streaming at the actual event from a public restroom. So I don't think that they took him off the platform for cheating or because of a speaking out movement or a Me Too movement that's happening in the gaming community as well, which I found to be very coincidental. Speaking out movement happening in wrestling, but it also happened in the gaming community as well. I don't think that they took him off the platform for that. I honestly, either one of two things is happening here. And this is what is driving me to be so interested in this story. It's like a pro wrestling fucking storyline here. This is why I'm talking about it. There's either one of two things happening here. Number one, I don't think he cheated. I don't think he got thrown under the bus for speaking out Me Too movement. I think he would be a fool to do that all over again. He already got caught, and I would not want to see anybody go through that again, especially after he got caught, was given a second chance, and redeemed himself. He still looks like a scumbag, but I don't think that is the reason. I either think A, he is planning something big, maybe a rebranding, maybe a huge viral marketing campaign that Twitch is on, or maybe he's actually leaving Twitch. Maybe he got caught. Maybe negotiating with another streaming platform. I heard rumors of all these big streamers coming together and starting their own streaming platform, and they may have lured him away to stream for them. Spotify is also getting into the streaming services as well. Maybe Spotify. Maybe he was doing some negotiations with Spotify while under Twitch, being exclusive to Twitch. I don't know. Or B, I think Twitch possibly banned him because he was talking about possible conspiracy theories by mentioning David Icke. Now, again, I don't know. Twitch has not let him know. Twitch even, he's been in communications with Twitch, and he came out and said Twitch has not notified me on the specific reason behind their decision. That doesn't sound weird to you? I really don't understand it. So I'm gonna keep a close eye on this situation. I'm not a big Twitch watcher of specific streamers, but everybody knows this guy. I tune into him and see him rage from time to time because it's entertaining, and it's just very weird what's going on everywhere. 2020 is one big clusterfuck, man. It really is ridiculous. So if you guys heard about that story, let me know what you think about that, because I am genuinely curious, and this is why I mentioned it. I am genuinely curious, if you guys know the story, what you think the reason is for why Dr. Disrespect just got mysteriously banned off Twitch with no reason given to him why they took him off. Very interesting stuff. Anyway, we're going to get right into the news, guys, quickly. Follow me on Twitter, at JD from NY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Hit that thumbs up as well if you enjoy anything you see or hear coming out of this video. If you missed Off the Script, Part 1 on Friday, Part 2 on Saturday, if you missed SmackDown, if you missed AEW, if you missed Monday Night Raw, or any combination of those videos this week, links are down below in the description of this video, so go and check all of that stuff out if you did not catch up on the latest right here on the podcast. If you guys want to support the podcast via Patreon, you can certainly do that as well. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Don't be like Vince and get your masks. Get your masks, man. Off the Script masks available now at mouthmasker.com/OTS. Go and get yours today. Thank you to everybody that got your masks already. Thank you guys for tweeting me out. And they are comfortable. I hate them. I really hate masks, man. But everybody's making a big deal about masks. I don't wear my masks all day long. I wear my masks when it's a necessary thing to wear the mask, when it's a necessity. Going out, doing this, doing that. You can't go anywhere without wearing a mask. So I figured, why not represent the show? So go get your masks today, man. Mouthmasker.com/OTS. Link will be down in the description of this very video. And today's podcast is brought to you guys by my good friends over at Harry's. Harry's.com/script. So go and get your trial set today and make sure you look as good as you can for the summer. I was going to say, make sure you guys look as good as me, because my beard is always in the right. So go and get your trial set today. Harry's.com/script. We'll talk about my friends over at Harry's a little bit later in the show. Let's start at the top, man. We got Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman. You guys know he's not the executive director of Monday Night Raw anymore. But there's a report that came out this morning that Paul Heyman tried to inspire and motivate Vince McMahon. This is clearly a failure before it was even a conceived notion. You tried to inspire and motivate Vince McMahon. The only thing that inspires and motivates Vince McMahon is money. That's the only thing. Money and ratings. That's it. He don't give a fuck how he gets those things. He don't give a fuck who he uses to get those things. He don't give a shit about people wearing masks. He don't give a shit about who has the virus, who doesn't have the virus, who's taking the virus home to their loved ones, their boyfriends, their girlfriends, their husbands, their wives, their children, their friends, their grandparents, God forbid. He doesn't give a shit. The only thing that inspires Vince McMahon is money. That is it. So Paul Heyman was battling uphill, and it was a battle that he was never going to win. Around 2 weeks ago, although it feels like it was forever ago, 2 weeks ago this was, folks. 2 weeks ago. It honestly feels like it's fucking last year, 2 years ago. Paul Heyman is no longer serving as the executive director of Monday Night Raw, a position that he held for just under 1 year. And I still go back and pat myself on the back because I knew, like I had a fucking imaginary crystal ball standing right here in front of me. I knew exactly where this was going. They hired all of the people that they hired to put in the positions that they put them in, to use them as scapegoats. And that's exactly what Paul Heyman was used as. That's exactly what Eric Bischoff was used as. And that's what Bruce will be used as. Because when the ratings continue to fall and the shows continue to fail, who is Vince McMahon going to blame when he needs someone to fire? That's going to be Bruce. And Bruce is going to end up like everybody else. And right back to Conrad full-time he goes. Heyman was replaced by Bruce Pritchard, who was also in charge of SmackDown, so he's doing double duty. This was part of the streamlining of the creative writing process. Fans were not overly pleased by the change, even though Heyman really didn't do anything on Monday Night Raw. He had his say in who he wanted to push, but the shows weren't really giving you a sense of change because Vince McMahon's influence was just so heavy that Paul Heyman, no matter what he wanted to do, was never going to break through that Vince McMahon wall. It was not only fans that weren't happy with the change. Some of the members of the Monday Night Raw locker room weren't happy because they feared that they wouldn't be featured as much as they were when Paul Heyman was in charge. They feel like they don't have anybody now to back them up and help them in this process. They're just going to get overlooked by Bruce and Vince, and their push is going to end, and they're going to go right back to catering. So some of those people were genuinely unhappy as well. Also, I reported the USA Network was unhappy as well about this situation. Now, I don't understand that. USA Network is paying WWE $1 billion to house Monday Night Raw over 5 years. You would think that Vince McMahon and all the higher-ups and all the executives would kind of relay such a big decision to from WWE to USA Network in regards to who they want in this big position on Monday Night Raw, which is housed by the USA Network. None of that happened. None of that happened. USA Network is upset about Paul Heyman not being there anymore, and USA Network is unhappy about Paul Heyman being fired by WWE. But it goes further than that. You're unhappy about this? Why don't you open your eyes and look at what's happening on Monday night? That is what you're unhappy with? The show sucks. You should be unhappy from the get-go. As soon as you've seen the ratings drop to a 1.7, you should have been like, bro, what the fuck is going on? But this is what you're unhappy about. Your unhappiness should have started months ago. But this is what you're unhappy about. And Vince McMahon, of course, does what he wants, doesn't really let USA Network know what decisions he's making. He just does it. Because Vince is better than everybody. I'll take your money, but then I won't relay to you big decisions that I'm going to make that could actively affect the show. So they were unhappy. And they were unhappy at the fact that Heyman had been removed from the position and replaced by Vince's first-hand man, Bruce Pritchard. First-hand man. Bruce Pritchard. That has multiple meanings. Under Heyman, younger stars such as Angel Garza, Apollo Crews, Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, Austin Theory, and more got a chance to shine on Monday night. Youth over aging legends. Building for the future. Sacrificing ratings for the future of the brand. The future of the company. Vince didn't want that. We talked about Vince not wanting to push any younger stars. Doesn't want to create any new stars on Monday or Friday night. They want the now. They want what's going to generate interest now. They want what's going to generate ratings now. These people were reportedly worried about their pushes when the news broke of Heyman's firing, like I had previously mentioned. Ringside News is now reporting that during creative meetings, Paul Heyman would try to inspire and motivate Vince McMahon. They also note that this is not happening right now, with ideas being pitched as quickly as possible to not bore Vince McMahon. A source in the company explained to us, says Ringside News, that Paul Heyman wanted to sell the concepts to Vince. Pretty much sell him and go in depth about why this works, why this doesn't work, why I want to push this guy and give multiple reasons why, etc., etc. Paul Heyman was very involved in what he wanted, very involved in his planning and thought process on Monday Night Raw, is what I take away from this situation, which I go back to, and I explain to everybody that no matter what you think of Paul Heyman was never fully in charge of Monday Night Raw. Paul Heyman was a guy that Vince McMahon looked at as, well, if I left him in charge and I stepped away completely and I left the entire show in his hands, he would not write the show that I would want. So what is the reason for putting somebody in that position to oversee the brand if you're not going to give them creative leeway to make the show better? If you're still micromanaging him, no matter if you're looking over his shoulder or you're micromanaging him from Stamford, Connecticut via Skype, what's the difference? If you're going to let someone take this position, then you let them take this position and run with it and do what needs to be done. Paul Heyman had long-term plans. Paul Heyman had a list of people he wanted to build, a list of people that he thought were the future of the company. People made fun of him. People made fun of him about the people he took from SmackDown, brought over to Raw. People in management, higher-ups in WWE were laughing at the people Paul Heyman wanted to push, saying that he brought the SmackDown catering crew over to Monday Night Raw and expected them to get over. That's a company, that sounds like a company that is invested in their talent, that is invested in building new stars. Not everybody's going to be a fucking John Cena and a Randy Orton and a Stone Cold Steve Austin overnight. It takes time. I guarantee you when you first looked at The Rock, just like I did, get this fucking guy off TV. But they gave him a spot. They gave him time to change. And now look. Now he's bigger fucking 50 times over than the WWE. So Vince McMahon sat there and listened to Paul Heyman sell these concepts to Vince. He wanted to inspire and motivate Vince McMahon during these pitch sessions, like he's selling some fucking product. It's sad that Paul Heyman has to sell Vince's own product to Vince McMahon. It's mind-boggling to me that Paul Heyman has to sell Vince McMahon on Vince McMahon's own creation. How does that even make sense? How does that make sense? Shouldn't he know? Shouldn't he know what he has and what he doesn't have, what he needs and what he doesn't need, where it should go and where it shouldn't go? I mean, this guy's a genius according to the fucking geeks of the community. The fucking shills and the blue check marks that say nothing but positive about the WWE. Isn't this guy a genius? This makes him look like a fucking idiot if you ask me. The new idea is to simply pitch. This is with the goons and creative now. The new idea is to simply pitch something to McMahon as quickly as possible and get out before he gets bored. Oh, I'm sorry, Vince. You're bored by your 70-man creative team pitching you ideas. How about the fucking fan watching at home that is utterly fucking bored with 3 hours of Raw every single week that has no direction, no life, no fucking characters that we give a shit about? It's utterly too fucking long. How do you think we feel? How do you think we feel seeing the goddamn Big Show on Raw in 2020? How do you think the fans are feeling seeing 76 whatever years old fucking Ric Flair trot himself out on Monday Night Raw in 2020 in a major goddamn storyline? Christian coming back, hasn't wrestled in 6 years. No, but this is what Vince thinks people want. You don't think we're bored at home? You don't think we're bored at home watching Charlotte Flair get 6 segments on Raw, wrestle twice. You don't think we're bored with the company pushing Nia Jax as the biggest woman heel in the company? You don't think we're bored investing our time in NXT only to see our NXT favorites make it to the main roster and then, I don't know, you figured that they would be used, they just sit in catering. The only promotion they got is the little NXT catering table, and they get promoted to Titus Catering. That's the only promotion that they're seeing. That's what you do with your future. So Vince McMahon, I'm sorry, he's listening to all the pitches, and they pitch it as quick as possible. It goes in one ear, out the other, because they don't want him to be bored. Motherfucker, you are the chairman of the company. You better sit and listen to the fucking people that you are signing the paychecks of, and listen to the fucking ideas that they have. You never know what's going to stand out. You never know if it's going to be better than what you guys, and I mean you guys meaning Bruce and Vince, what you guys have come up with. But even at that point, you're not going to use what fucking creative writer Z is using. Creative writer number 67, because God forbid they have fucking names. They're probably labeled by number. What this guy has might be better than what they got, but it's not going to be used because fuck that. It's not your show. We want to take credit for everything. It's our show. It's my show. We're going to do what we want, push who we want, bring the show to where we want it to be. Fuck this guy. This guy's got an outstanding idea. This guy's got long-term plans for 3 or 4 months. This is great stuff. We're not going to use it. We're not going to use it. Bring back Christian. Bring back Big Show. Let's dress Akira Tozawa in a ninja outfit. That's the beautiful creative mind of Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard. So Paul Heyman tried to inspire and motivate Vince McMahon. The only thing that McMahon is inspired by, again, is money, and he's motivated by failure. That's exactly what Vince McMahon is motivated by, failure. Because he clearly sees the shows dwindling into nothing, and he's motivated to continue to see it fail because he hired Bruce to oversee both creative shows, or creative on both shows, and drive the show further into the ground. That's the way I see it. I found that to be quite hilarious when I opened my browser on Sunday morning. Going back to the whole COVID situation, man, WWE has a new schedule for how they are handling their tapings. And apparently, WWE is right now in the process of getting things together for next week. Now, I reported on Friday that they were supposed to tape on Friday. That got postponed until Saturday. And from what I heard this morning via Dave Meltzer, is that WWE did tape Monday Night Raw. A light staff was available, but they did tape Monday Night Raw on Saturday, just one taping, and that will air on Monday. Now, I wasn't sure if that was going to happen. I thought they were going to tape on Monday and go tape to live. So that's what I thought that they were going to do, but they did tape on Saturday, and it will be shown on Monday. But the latest on the new TV schedule got pushed back, and this is how it's looking right now. According to Post Wrestling and John Pollock, they first reported the new schedule and later confirmed this with Dave Meltzer. Here is what the new schedule looks like. Wednesday, July 1st, 2 weeks of the Great American Bash will be filmed. Wednesdays will air that night, and the other episode airing the following Wednesday on July 8th. So that's 1 day out of Full Sail University, and that's it. Thursday, July 2nd, the July 3rd and the July 10th SmackDowns will be filmed, as well as 205 Live, which I didn't even know was still a thing, but here we are. So Thursday will be SmackDown, July 2nd. The July 3rd and the July 10th SmackDowns will be filmed. Friday, July 3rd, the July 6th and the July 10th episodes of Raw will be filmed, as well as Main Event and Raw Talk. So that's that. As noted, WWE taped this Monday's episode of Raw on Saturday. WWE had plans to tape 2 additional NXT episodes on Thursday, but that was canceled. The delays and ultimately changes regarding WWE's schedule is due to, obviously, several COVID-19 tests that were already required to the postponements. So the likes of Renee Young, Kayla Braxton, Adam Pearce, Jamie Noble, amongst others that have not come forth yet because WWE will not allow them to. They even said so, that they don't want people bragging or posting about their positive test on social media, have publicly confirmed that they have tested positive for the virus. And I read that WWE and specifically Vince McMahon were upset at Renee Young posting about her positive test on social media. So that is the latest on WWE's taping schedule. So that's that. Another follow-up here that we talked about yesterday was Tessa Blanchard. Tessa Blanchard got fired by Impact Wrestling. Following her departure from Impact Wrestling, Dave Meltzer noted on Sunday's Wrestling Observer Live that WWE has sent feelers out to contact Tessa Blanchard about potentially working together. This is exactly what I talked about on Saturday's show. I have no doubt in my mind that Tessa Blanchard is going to end up with the WWE. It's like a match made in heaven. If you think that WWE gives a shit about her racial past and what she said in her past all those years ago as far as racism and bullying and this and that and spitting on a pro wrestler and just ruining and burning bridges down everywhere and every locker room she's been in. If you think WWE gives a shit about that, you are as dumb as I think you are. Honestly, WWE doesn't give a shit about any of that. WWE looks at Tessa Blanchard as, well, we need somebody on TV that is just as big of a name as anybody else that we have on the roster right now. Becky's out. Charlotte's going to be out for elective surgery, by the way, which I'll talk about in a little bit on today's show. Charlotte's out. Becky's out. We got Ronda out. Bianca Belair's not being used. We got Shayna Baszler not being used. So WWE has a lot of women that they're not really utilizing and or are out right now. Bringing in Tessa Blanchard probably could kind of even things out there and make WWE not worry so much, but they're a bunch of idiots anyway. All they look at is, when they look at their women's roster, they look at Bayley, they look at Sasha, they look at Charlotte. That's about it. Asuka, maybe. Asuka 1 week cold, Asuka 1 week hot. They don't give a shit. All they see is Sasha, Bayley, and Charlotte. That's it. It's disgusting. It really is disgusting. WWE doesn't know what they have at all when it comes to the women's roster that they are just keeping secret backstage. It's truly disgusting that talent like that is being wasted. So obviously when I think Tessa Blanchard, I think WWE. Tony Khan is not going to touch Tessa Blanchard. Why would he? Tony Khan is so keen and up to date with what's going on now. He wants to do what's right by all these certain movements. Bringing in Tessa Blanchard is going to bring a negative impact to his company. Bringing in Tessa Blanchard is not really going to look good for Tony Khan after what he did with Jimmy Havoc and then what he did with Sammy Guevara. He would pretty much be erasing all the good and all the good that he's standing up for and all the right decisions that he's made by bringing in Tessa because of her past, which is not going to go away. It's going to haunt her for the rest of her career. WWE is in a complete shithole anyway. I don't know how much worse they could look, so why not? Bring in Tessa Blanchard. Her racism in the past? Fuck it. Fuck it. We need another name for Charlotte to beat at WrestleMania. Bring her on in. I can absolutely see this being a thing. Really. As of this writing, there's no word yet on whether AEW has any interest in signing the former Impact Wrestling star. Meltzer stated in the past that while WWE knows how talented Blanchard is, the company didn't sign her to a developmental deal in the past because of her attitude issues. Blanchard's reputation that she's built up on the independent scene in pro wrestling has followed her throughout her career, and it will never go away. Of course, Blanchard's tenure with Impact ended when the promotion decided to strip her of the world title and terminated her contract, despite advertising her for its Slammiversary pay-per-view on July 18th. The reason for that is due to Blanchard failing to send promos in from her home in Mexico from a June episode of Impact. This caused Impact to make changes to the show. While it's known that Blanchard would have dropped the title because she didn't want to leave Mexico out of fear that she couldn't be let back into the country due to the coronavirus pandemic, the two sides couldn't work out the terms in order for her to do that. Thus, Impact just made the call to terminate her contract and strip her of the Impact World Championship. Blanchard does have a history with WWE as she's worked squash matches on NXT, and she was actually in the first Mae Young Classic tournament where she lost to Kairi Sane, I believe, in the first round of episode 4 in the main event. This was something that I kind of felt was coming with Tessa, honestly. The more I heard her sitting out, I'm like, she's done. She ain't going back to work. And I mentioned this on Saturday's show. She kind of wrote her own story here. She kind of took the ball and ran with it and created her own story. She never lost the championship. So she could spin this and tell this to everybody, and I'm sure she's feeling this way. Instead of going back to work and dropping the title, which was inevitable, and going back to a place where she didn't want to be, she said, fuck it, I'm not sending in any promo work, I'm keeping the title, and I'm not showing up for work. I'm not dropping the title. So, as far as I'm concerned, she never lost the World Heavyweight Championship. She didn't want to be there anyway. And it is what it is. It is what it is. But I'm not surprised with this follow-up that WWE is already sending out feelers to Tessa Blanchard. Will you be a Tessa Blanchard fan if she goes to WWE, whether it's the main roster or NXT? Will you be supporting Tessa Blanchard? More than likely, you won't be. Because like I said, this situation with her will follow her the rest of her career. And as soon as she makes it, if she makes it that far, to the WWE, all of it will be uncovered once again. And it's going to be coming down upon her once again. And what is WWE going to do? Ignore it like they do everything else. I am not surprised that trash wants to work with trash. This is common knowledge, folks. You should not be surprised by WWE sending feelers out to Tessa Blanchard. Moving on here, man. The overnight SmackDown ratings are up with the Undertaker tribute. Overnight ratings are in for Friday Night SmackDown from the Performance Center. The episode drew an average of 2.174 million viewers, which is up from last Friday's episode that did an average of 2.089 million viewers. The first hour saw it pull in a 2.271 million viewers, with hour 2 drawing a 2.076 million viewership. This was touted as a tribute show for The Undertaker. The first hour included various WWE stars talking about the legendary pro wrestler, and the entire Boneyard match was shown from WrestleMania 36 in its entirety with commercials. WWE later stated that this was The Undertaker's last match. A lot of people have asked me, what do you think about The Undertaker? Might as well talk about this now. Quickly, I do not think The Undertaker is completely retired. I do think that The Undertaker will be back for 1 or 2, if most, matches. That's it. Because I could see The Undertaker. Now, he could certainly hang his hat on the Boneyard match. I could definitely see him hanging his hat on that. I mean, it's a great match. It was a great WWE production. It was easily, by far and away, the best thing on both nights of WrestleMania. No question about it. But the Survivor Series is taking place this year, I think. 30 years of The Undertaker. The Survivor Series is taking place on the same date, 30 years to the day that The Undertaker debuted in 1990. I mean, that's just a once-in-a-lifetime thing for a pro wrestler. You debut in 1990 at the Survivor Series on this certain date, and then you fast forward 30 years into the future, you're still in the WWE, and you mean to tell me that WWE isn't going to use that as a promotional tool to sell the Survivor Series and build The Undertaker's, what could be his final match? And I just do not see him not appearing at another WrestleMania. I do think that he will be back in some way, shape, or form. I do not think the Boneyard match was his last match. That's my take. I do not think he is completely retired. This was a great promotional tool to keep The Undertaker in everybody's mind. And I do think that he will be back for at least 1, at most 2 matches. So this was an Undertaker tribute show. It also pulled in an average of a 0.50 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic, which was number 1 for the night. That is the same from the 0.50 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic the show did last week. SmackDown was number 8 for the night amongst the networks in viewership, the same from last week's number 8 ranking. It was behind 2020 Magnum PI, Blue Bloods, Shark Tank, Dateline, NBC, and other top shows on network television. So that's that. But this is a situation with WWE if they need to take a 2-week quarantine break and halt tapings, which I know they don't want to do. We don't know how bad this coronavirus situation in the WWE is. We don't know who's infected, who's not infected, who tested positive, who tested negative. We don't know what's going on with that because WWE will not release any information for their own personal gain because they want to have live shows in Lakeland, Florida. But SmackDown, if they need to, this is clearly an indication that WWE has people out there that are more interested in watching reruns and more interested in watching classic content, more interested in watching something like this with an Undertaker. They could do this with multitudes of people. For 2 weeks, it's not going to be that big of a deal. If you're going to throw some Shawn Michaels matches up there from earlier in his career, if you're going to throw some Rock matches up there from earlier in his career, Stone Cold Steve Austin matches from earlier in his career, Bret Hart from his early days, I'll be more keen to watching that than the current fucking product. And apparently a lot of other people. This was the highest rated first hour of SmackDown in months. Months. Now, what does that say about people who did not watch WrestleMania, that they went back and watched a rerun of the Boneyard match? You know? How many people actually did not watch WrestleMania and watched this match on SmackDown? How many people actually watched WrestleMania and watched this again? It's very interesting. So we'll see what happens with WWE. I'm here talking about them taking a break. They're not taking no break. WWE is not taking any sort of break whatsoever from producing fresh content. I don't think Vince would ever put his company in that position whatsoever. But the overnight SmackDown ratings were up. And that was mainly due to the main roster product not being featured as much. It was more Undertaker. It was more showing the Boneyard match again, and it had nothing to do with the actual core main roster product right now that is currently on TV. Today's podcast is brought to you guys by my good friends over at Harry's. Harrys.com/script. We all know times are tough right now. I mean, just look at Vince McMahon. Look at the WWE. Times are tough is an understatement when it comes to them. Don't feel like the WWE, man. Use some Harry's. Harry's wants to help you look your best while saving you a little bit of cash along the way. I've been with Harry's for 3 years, man. You guys don't need to hear it from me anymore. You should have it ingrained up here in your heads. Harry's is the best shave that you will ever have. I've used them for 3 years, never looked back, never looked at another competitor at all. It's always Harry's. I love the glide of the blade. I love the fact that I never cut myself. And I love the fact that their gel, their hydrating gel with aloe, keeps my skin feeling great. And I love the tingling sensation that it gives me when I am shaving. It's awesome. Get a Harry's trial set today, delivered to your doorstep by going to harrys.com/script. They are a return to the essential. Quality, durable blades at a fair price. Just $2 per blade. They've cut out the middleman, manufacturing blades in their German blade factory, which has been honing precision for over a century, which means you guys are going to get incredibly high-quality blades at factory direct prices. Harry's is also super convenient. Blade refills are delivered directly to your door on your schedule with or without a subscription. And in this challenging time, feel a little bit better about your purchase. Harry's is going to be donating $1 million worth of shaving supplies to hospitals across the United States. Listeners of Off the Script can redeem their trial set today by going to harrys.com/script. You guys are going to get this: a weighted handle for a firm grip, 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip and a trimmer blade, rich lathering shave gel with aloe to keep your skin hydrated, and a travel blade cover to keep your razor dry and easy on the go. Guys, it's simple. Start shaving better today. Start using Harry's. harrys.com/script. Speaking Speaking about somebody that is all over SmackDown, and we have no desire to see on SmackDown, Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin is reportedly unhappy with WWE planning an upcoming feud for him with Matt Riddle. Now, Baron Corbin is unhappy with WWE planning a feud for him with Matt Riddle. Why would anybody be upset about any type of feud with Matt Riddle? Matt Riddle is the type of guy that's going to make you look better in the end. Or is this just a case of sheer jealousy from Baron Corbin? Now, Riddle was introduced to the main roster in a big way last week when he defeated AJ Styles in a non-title match. I could talk for hours about how I did not like that introduction. I knew he was going to show face, but I don't think necessarily putting him against AJ Styles and having him beat AJ Styles clean after AJ just won one hell of a match with Daniel Bryan and won the title. I don't think AJ needed to lose his first match out of that tournament and winning the title. They could have done anything else with Matt Riddle. They could have built him up through wins. They could have introduced him and not had the match. I don't like that generic formula of WWE having somebody come on in, beat the champion, and then poof, title match. You've done nothing in between to even warrant a title match, to deserve a title match. That's the part I am upset about the most. Guy comes in, beats the champion, gets a title match, instead of running through the mid-card and then working his way to said champion. That concept needs to die in WWE. It doesn't look like Riddle is going to feud with AJ at the moment. I'm figuring they're saving that for SummerSlam. But having him defeat the former WWE champion in his first match on SmackDown hopefully indicates that WWE has big plans for him. And they're not going to give AJ a loss to just anybody. Matt Riddle clearly has big plans for him on SmackDown. Now, prior to his debut, it was speculated that Riddle could feud with Baron Corbin, and that appeared to be the plan. I even said as much. There's one of two things that are going to happen here. Number one, he's going to be thrusted right into the Intercontinental Championship program with AJ Styles, or B, he's going to feud with Baron Corbin. Now, I don't mind a Matt Riddle-Baron Corbin feud. I don't. Because it's the normal way for people to kind of go through the process on SmackDown. Beat someone like Corbin and then beat somebody else and then move on to a bigger program for maybe a championship. But apparently Baron Corbin has a problem feuding with Matt Riddle, not the other way around. Now, if you guys remember, in the Survivor Series and Royal Rumble matches, both, Baron Corbin had a hand in Matt Riddle's elimination. He eliminated Matt Riddle from the Survivor Series and he eliminated Matt Riddle from the Royal Rumble in record time in both situations. So the pair are set to feud in the coming weeks, according to recent reports. Now, this is according to Gary Cassidy of Sportskeeda. Riddle has been aware that he's going to be feuding with Baron Corbin, but Corbin only found out about these plans as of recently, and he was not too pleased, which I find this to be incredibly hilarious. Cassidy notes that Corbin is of the belief that Matt Riddle should have gone through several enhancement talents before he shares the ring with Corbin. Gary Cassidy says this, well, sources within WWE have revealed to me how Matt Riddle has known for several months that he would be working with Corbin upon his arrival to SmackDown, while Baron Corbin only found out last week. I'm told Corbin was unhappy with the plan and insisted that Matt Riddle should have beat 5 enhancement talents before getting the chance to face him. It's not clear whether Corbin was unhappy because of a potential issue with Riddle himself, or if he just feel like Matt Riddle wasn't established enough. So that's that. I don't really understand this story and why Baron Corbin is unhappy. He feels like Matt Riddle should go through 5 enhancement talents to get to a bigger spot on SmackDown. He's unhappy about feuding with Matt Riddle. First of all, who the fuck is Baron Corbin? Baron Corbin is an absolute nobody. Nobody's watching the show for Baron Corbin. Nobody gives a shit about Baron Corbin. Every time Baron Corbin is on TV, people are reaching for the remote control. Baron Corbin drives viewers away because Baron Corbin has been ingrained on SmackDown to give you that formulaic, boring feel. Baron Corbin is not a guy people are going to tune in to watch. Baron Corbin is the type of talent that people are going to watch and then not want to watch any further. And who the fuck is Baron Corbin? Everything that Baron Corbin has done has been a complete failure. Constable Corbin, failure. Feud with Kurt Angle, failure. This King Corbin gimmick, I praised Baron Corbin in the tournament. I thought he might be turning over a new leaf. He ruined that as well. Everything that Baron Corbin has put his fucking crown on, it is an absolute failure. Baron Corbin feuding with Elias, garbage. Baron Corbin feuding with Roman Reigns, God all fucking mighty. Holy shit, you are as bad as Jinder Mahal on SmackDown. You took SmackDown into the doldrums of fucking despair on that road to WrestleMania, feuding with Roman Reigns. Dog food and this and that, complete failure. Baron Corbin himself is an enhancement talent. Your job, Corbin, is that of an enhancement talent. I don't see you clamoring. I don't see the fans clamoring for a world championship run from Baron Corbin. I don't see fans clamoring to see Baron Corbin with any type of championship gold. So who the fuck are you to be unhappy about putting over somebody that clearly has much more upside than you ever had? Is it jealousy, Corbin? I think so. Baron Corbin is an absolute fucking idiot for being unhappy. Here's my take on this. Corbin, do your fucking job. That's my take on that. Yeah, he eliminated Riddle from the Survivor Series and the Royal Rumble. Okay, you got your two little fucking token victories over Matt Riddle. Now it's about time he makes his full-blown debut and not just a tease on WWE TV in the Survivor Series or Royal Rumble. Now it's your job to put him over full-fledged on SmackDown because he's going to be factoring into the upper hierarchy of the show, and you'll be stuck down in the mid-card feuding with the likes of Morrison and Miz and Otis and all these other fucking people that nobody gives a shit about. So that's that. Baron Corbin's unhappy, folks, for doing his job. Baron Corbin is unhappy for having to do his job and put over somebody much more superior than himself. Great. I've heard it all now, folks. Comedy. WWE is one big comedy show. Now, I could give him the benefit of the doubt. He might not even be unhappy about putting over Matt Riddle. He may be unhappy that WWE management told Riddle months in advance that he would be feuding with Corbin, and I could give him the benefit of the doubt and just sit here and tell you guys that maybe Baron Corbin's unhappy because he wasn't filled in on plans that concerned him. But I'm not going to go that far. I could see Baron Corbin being unhappy about putting over somebody like Matt Riddle. Because he's new, he's young, right? He's hip. He's the one guy that everybody wants to see. I could absolutely see it being not what I just mentioned and everything having to do with jealousy. WWE's adding another big match to Wednesday's Great American Bash on NXT, which had absolutely 0 weeks of build. Io Shirai posted her own video on Twitter and has accepted the challenge of Sasha Banks, and it will be Banks versus Shirai on Wednesday night. It was not said if the title will be on the line. More than likely not. So that is what WWE is doing as far as trying to take interest away from Fyter Fest. NXT on Wednesday night will have the Great American Bash. That is their theme for the show, and the show will be stacked with several big matches. Fyter Fest has its show stacked with several big matches over 2 weeks. WWE is doing the same thing with the Great American Bash. WWE is stacking the show because they will be up against the first night of AEW's Fyter Fest. This is what is scheduled for NXT on Wednesday. Fatal 4-Way, women's match. Winner gets a shot at the NXT Women's Championship, I'm presuming, the following week. Mia Yim, Tegan Nox, Candice LeRae, and Dakota Kai. Should be interesting. I could see Candice winning it. I could see Dakota Kai winning it. Mia Yim and Tegan Nox are just there to round out the field of 4. If I am going with somebody, I'm going with Dakota Kai. Because she's been the one woman, I was going to say Candice, but Dakota Kai more so, they put more stock in building Dakota Kai up than anybody else. Candice is going to be there with Johnny. Johnny and Candice are a thing, and they are at the top level of NXT. Give Dakota Kai a shot at the fucking championship. You've been building her up for how many months now? You build her up and then you scale her back. You're building her up now. Give her a fucking title match. Very simple. Candice will get her title shot. Strap match. I'm looking forward to this. Dexter Lumis versus Roderick Strong. That is going to be a great match. And Roddy is having all of these undisputed therapy sessions. He ran away from the match against Dexter Lumis on Wednesday. And now William Regal said, well, I scheduled you a match with Dexter Lumis to get over your fucking fears, and you ran away. Now you are putting me in a position where I have to make this strap match. So Dexter Lumis and Roderick Strong are going one-on-one in a strap match on Wednesday night. Banks versus Shirai, that is going to be great. It doesn't make any sense, but I'm not going to complain too much because I think that's going to tear the house down. If you want to see Sasha be Sasha, then watch Sasha versus Io. Handicap match, Ripley must join Robert Stone's faction if she loses. I don't give a shit. Rhea Ripley versus Aaliyah and Robert Stone. I could not give a single shit. So that is that. That Sasha Banks and Io Shirai match, I'll put that up against anything that Fyter Fest has on Wednesday night. It's going to be great. I don't really understand why the match is happening, but here we are. Now, what do you do with Sasha Banks and Io Shirai? Io clearly can't lose, and Sasha really can't lose either. WWE has pretty much backed themselves into a corner here. Io can't lose because she just won the championship. How would it look if she loses her first match as champion? Even though WWE, this is not a fucking foreign language to WWE, they don't give a shit. They've had this happen before. A champion wins the championship and then loses their first match in the next set of matches, coming out as champion. It's ridiculous. I don't really sit here and necessarily agree with it, but if WWE does it, I won't be surprised. Now, Sasha can't lose. She's in a match with Asuka. They just made the match for Extreme Fools, Asuka versus Sasha Banks. Io just won the championship, and Sasha's getting a title match against Asuka. Now, we all know that Io should not lose. We all know that Banks can't lose. If Banks does lose, how do you justify her getting a title match against Asuka? On top of the reason already, she's a SmackDown superstar. So, right off the bat, she's a SmackDown superstar, and she's losing a match against Io Shirai. Doesn't really make Sasha Banks, liable to talk about, oh, I deserve a women's championship match against Asuka. Doesn't make sense. This is what I think happens. I think Asuka, looking for payback, and clearly WWE desperate to combat Night 2 of Fyter Fest, I think Asuka, being attacked on Monday Night Raw and mocked on Monday Night Raw by Sasha, makes her way to NXT, and she attacks Sasha Banks here, causing Sasha Banks to lose. Now, Sasha, I do think is going to lose, but I do think that it's going to be Asuka that's going to help her lose this match. And I think on Night 2 of the Great American Bash, I do think we're going to see Io Shirai and Asuka versus Sasha Banks and Bayley, and then in that match, you could probably tease a little bit that Bayley or Sasha kind of fucked each other over in some way, shape, or form. Either it's Bayley fucking over Sasha or Sasha fucking over Bayley, and having them lose that match with Bayley being pinned. That's the way I see that happening. So we get that happening, and then we get Sasha and Asuka, and then you could further the story there with Bayley maybe trying to help Sasha win that match, and she accidentally screws Sasha over, and Sasha loses, and then boom, we got the match leading into SummerSlam. I think everything being done here is going to facilitate Bayley and Sasha, but I could be wrong. I just don't think this makes sense. I do think, first and foremost, this is WWE's desperate attempt at combating AEW the best way that they can. And it gives them the reason to do that because Sasha Banks is a tag team champion. They're using the tag team championships as a way to get Sasha Banks on NXT because it's allowed, and there's a dream match for you. So WWE is even going as far as, using what they have with these tag team championships as a way to further push their desperation to take interest away from AEW. Again, I'm just giving you the reality of the situation. I'm giving you the facts. This is just something that, to me, doesn't make sense. It doesn't need to happen, but I'm not going to complain because I'm going to love what I see coming out of this thing. So that's that. And everything else on that show, I really don't give a shit. Dexter Lumis, I love Dexter Lumis. I think he's great. He's one of the best things about NXT. So that and the Sasha Banks Io Shirai match definitely have my attention on Wednesday night. Speaking of NXT, there's a major WWE Star campaigning to Vince McMahon to work with NXT Talent. After NXT TakeOver In Your House, Randy Orton took to social media to poke some fun back at Tommaso Ciampa and the leg slap tweets. So these comments led to a reaction from Tommaso Ciampa. The entire back and forth is said to have angered Vince McMahon. Well, it seems like Randy Orton knew what he was doing, and Wrestle Talk, in an exclusive, has learned that Randy Orton is hoping to work with someone from NXT over the coming months. Now, their sources say that Randy Orton has thrown out the idea of working with some of NXT's roster, with Ciampa being one of the people he would be keen to work with. They've also heard other names such as Adam Cole being discussed. Tommaso Ciampa has previously rejected a full-time move to Raw or SmackDown, being unwilling to work with Raw and SmackDown and their taping schedule. However, with shows likely going to be at the Performance Center for the foreseeable future, they've been told that he'd be more open to doing a one-off program with Orton on Raw. However, just because Orton and Ciampa may work together in the near future doesn't mean that the program will be on Raw. It was reported 2 weeks ago how Vince McMahon is unhappy with the NXT ratings, and this is something we've been able to independently confirm, says Wrestle Talk. McMahon could decide to have the feud play out on both Raw and NXT in order to boost ratings of NXT show. This is something that will likely be considered if WWE does decide to have both of these guys feud over the next few weeks/months going on into the summer. There's no word on if McMahon is considering booking the story right now. With Raw lacking top heels, we could see Orton versus McIntyre at SummerSlam for the WWE Championship. But there's also someone else in mind for that position. This sounds very similar to what I've been pitching on this show. And again, I don't mean to fucking stroke my own ego or stroke my own fucking cock here, but this is exactly what I said. I don't need Wrestle Geeks to come out and state something as an exclusive when I gave you the exclusive before the exclusive. It's just common sense. Use your fucking brain. Had multiple people come to me and say, JD, Tommaso Ciampa said he wouldn't work the main roster. No shit, motherfucker. No shit. I know what Tommaso Ciampa said. I don't need you to reiterate to me what he said. I love everything that Tommaso Ciampa does. I would never want to see him on the main roster. Period. I know what would happen to him immediately upon arrival. But that doesn't mean, and I used all of these things in this report, they're working out of the same building. They're working in the same fucking county. So why not have Randy Orton and Tommaso Ciampa feud on Monday Night Raw? All they had to do, instead of bringing out a Christian, instead of going with a fucking Big Show, bring out Tommaso Ciampa on Monday Night Raw. Ciampa has already stated personally how he looks at Edge as an influence, as someone who suffered the same injury that Edge has suffered, with all the uncertainty to even come back and work stronger and harder to come back and look better than he's ever looked. That's all it takes. That's all it takes right there. That's all it would have taken. And WWE doesn't even have the fucking the mindset to take something so simple and build upon it on TV. No, we got to get the Big Show. We got to get the Big Show because Big Show equals ratings, according to Bruce and Vince McMahon. This is a simple story to tell. And I don't want to see Randy Orton on NXT. I don't want to see Randy Orton promoted for NXT. Everything Randy Orton needs to do should be on Raw. If Tommaso Ciampa has a problem with what Randy Orton has been doing to Edge and what Randy Orton has said about Edge, Tommaso Ciampa shows up on Monday Night Raw. That's what happens. There's no reason for Randy Orton to be on NXT, and if you bring Randy Orton and advertise him for NXT, then you're just feeding that desperation pool for WWE to combat AEW. You don't want to do that. NXT beat AEW this week with NXT. They didn't beat AEW with main roster. So keep it at that. It looks a lot better for you in the end when you get a victory And you really didn't do anything out of the ordinary. Just built a show. You put talents in a position on a show that people were genuinely intrigued by. And they won by over 150,000 viewers. Keep it that way. Don't advertise a Randy Orton, because then you're just kind of cheating the system. And we all know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Tommaso Ciampa could easily show up on Monday Night Raw. And that would be a great way as well to build brand recognition for NXT. It would be a great way to build wrestler, superstar recognition for Tommaso Ciampa. Not many people know who Ciampa is. You might not know who Ciampa is at all. Have him show up on Raw. Have him get into a thing with Randy Orton. I guarantee you people will go out of their way and look at what Tommaso Ciampa has previously done. And it would build brand recognition for NXT. It would just be unpredictable. It would be genuine. It would be different. It would be out of WWE's comfort zone and creative zone. And it would actually be a process and a storyline that actually has some thought put into it. I'm all for it. Adam Cole, not so much. I don't think that's something I want to see. Maybe on the main roster. Adam Cole's probably making his way to the main roster anyway. Before long, we're not going to have to wait for Randy Orton and Adam Cole. It's going to be a thing eventually. But I like this idea. Ciampa on Raw, working out of the PC, doesn't mean he's going to be on the show full time. He's not going to be on Raw full time. He can do a one-off and have it still be in the way he wants it to be for his career. I think it's great. Major details on Drew McIntyre's Summerslam plans. You're not going to want to hear this one, folks. If you're a fan of Drew McIntyre, this is not going to sit well with you. Drew McIntyre has had several successful title defenses. Some guys, including Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, and now Dolph Ziggler coming up. Big Show is another one. McIntyre's feud with Rollins was short. It was sweet. It looked like a program just to kind of get his feet wet. And Lashley was then next. Decent. Really didn't give a shit about it, but the match that they produced was great. SummerSlam is now just 2 months away, and it also sounds like WWE has McIntyre's next feud planned out. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer Radio suggested that WWE is setting up for a program for Randy Orton and McIntyre at SummerSlam. That fits. Randy Orton, especially after he beats the Big Show, Randy Orton's taking out Edge. And Randy Orton is the only other top heel on that brand worthy of a WWE championship. At that point, I don't know whether you take the title off of Drew McIntyre and put it on Orton, or you keep it on Drew McIntyre. But if you're feuding Randy Orton with Drew McIntyre and Edge is still out, there's no possible way that Randy Orton can lose. The only loss that Randy Orton should be having is a loss from Edge. So does WWE want to give Randy Orton the WWE Championship? That's the question. Does Randy Orton even want the WWE Championship? That's the question. In no way can he lose. So I don't know what the plan is here, but Randy Orton makes sense. But the outcome seems pretty set, if you ask me. Now, Sportskeeda is reporting, however, that a rematch between McIntyre and Lesnar is penciled in at the moment. So what do you do with Randy Orton? Randy Orton can certainly feud with Tommaso Ciampa at SummerSlam if you so choose. That could be a great continuation to keep that storyline going for Randy Orton. But Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar penciled in at the moment, that does not bode well for Drew McIntyre whatsoever. Sportskeeda acknowledged the speculation of an Orton-McIntyre showdown, but the expectation is a WrestleMania 36 rematch. One way or another, it sounds like McIntyre will be going up against another prominent name and Hall of Famer at SummerSlam. This is one of WWE's big 4 pay-per-views, and it makes good sense to pit the WWE Champion against another big-named superstar. Whoever that is right now, whether Orton or Lesnar, nobody knows yet. There were discussions about Orton and Edge facing off at SummerSlam in a rematch, but Edge obviously suffered a torn triceps during the Backlash tapings, and he'll be out for several months. Orton needs a new opponent, and McIntyre clearly fits the bill for a fresh opponent for Randy Orton. As per WWE tradition, if Lesnar comes back then you know he's going to get a title match. Because this has been the same formula for Brock Lesnar week in, or year in, year out for Brock Lesnar. He comes back, he holds the championship till WrestleMania, he loses the championship at WrestleMania, takes the spring and most of the summer off to come back and win the championship at SummerSlam and rinse and repeat the same cycle over and over again. Now, do you see that happening again? Of course you do. Because it's Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard. They're going to go back and do what they always do, and that is bring back these bigger names to come on in and think to themselves, well, we need a Brock Lesnar on TV. We need a Brock Lesnar on TV, and I don't know how we can operate this show and get the ratings back up if we don't have Brock Lesnar. Meanwhile, you're erasing literally everything that Paul Heyman, you're erasing everything that Drew McIntyre has done to work hard to get to this point. You're erasing all of that to go back to the same formula that never worked to begin with. It worked many years ago, but it doesn't work now. If people see Brock Lesnar on TV in the same situation that he was in last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and if they see him on TV again doing the same thing, beating yet another guy for the WWE Championship, and holding the title hostage for when WWE wants him to come back at Survivor Series, and the Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania, I don't see that being a good thing. Not for the viewers, not for the show, not for the title. Not for anything. If Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar is the match, Drew McIntyre's reign is done. You're not going to bring Brock Lesnar into a fucking performance center SummerSlam and have him lose. If Brock Lesnar's coming on in for another match against Drew McIntyre, you can guarantee Brock Lesnar's walking out the WWE champion. How is he even getting a title match? I would love for someone to ask that question to Bruce and Vince. How is Lesnar, and don't tell me he's Brock Lesnar, how is Lesnar going to come on back after losing in April, come back in August, and get a title match with not even being on TV? I am tired of the logic gaps. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. I don't give a fuck what you do. McIntyre deserves better than Brock Lesnar. It's either Randy Orton or somebody else completely. Get the fuck out of here with this same old rinse and repeat garbage. Then you're going to have the fucking shills on social media praising, oh, Brock Lesnar's back, and be all excited. Little do they know that Lesnar on TV ruins the product. Not in general, but him in the position that they're going to put him in ruins the product. The WWE Championship, and you could tell that this is the direction that they're going in now anyway, because the WWE title isn't even the most important thing on the show. If the WWE title is off the show, what do other people on this show have to fight for? Apollo Crews in the United States Championship? You're going to make the United States Championship the number one title on the fucking show. You didn't do that how many years now? With no matter what the mid-card title was on a show that Brock Lesnar was on as the WWE Champion. You didn't build up the United States title, you didn't build up the IC title, and all the years that you did this fucking general rinse and repeat process with Brock Lesnar. Every single year, it's the same shit. Shows up at WrestleMania, loses the title. Shows up at SummerSlam, wins the title back. Holds it till Survivor Series, beats whoever at Survivor Series, wins the Royal Rumble match. Defends the title there. If he defends the title there, goes to WrestleMania, loses the title to the next big thing, the guy that they want to put over next. And then he comes back in SummerSlam and wins the title back. That's the rinse and repeat process with Brock Lesnar. These people actually think bringing Lesnar back and having him put over somebody is working. How could you have Lesnar put over somebody and then have him beat that same guy that he put over at SummerSlam? Doesn't work that way. The more you have Lesnar lose to everybody that you want to be, or you want to have that as the next big thing on your show, the less important Brock Lesnar is. I don't get how this works. I really don't understand this. So if Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar is the match at SummerSlam, which I would bet my money on, I'm going to say Randy Orton and Tommaso Ciampa is a safe bet for SummerSlam. Now, if Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton is the match at SummerSlam, which I think at this point I would rather prefer, because at least Randy Orton, A, is doing some of the best work he's done in years. B, he's on the show every week, so the title will be on the show, on Orton, every single week. And it just adds another, and if you want him to win the WWE Championship, which I'm not really for, I'm not for Drew McIntyre dropping the title, but if they have to drop the title, and they want to drop the title, I don't think there's anybody better than Randy Orton right now. And it adds another layer to the Edge saga. Imagine Randy Orton injuring Edge and going on to win the WWE Championship, and Edge comes back and wins the WWE Championship in his revenge against Randy Orton. Imagine that. That's a great story to tell. I, again, am not for Drew McIntyre dropping the title to sell a storyline that really doesn't need it, and to put the title on a 50-year-old Edge, who clearly is injury-prone now. I don't know what they do. I really don't. It's either Lesnar and McIntyre for the WWE title. McIntyre definitely losing. Orton and Ciampa, which is a very interesting aspect. That could be SummerSlam right there. Double dose of SummerSlam, double main event there. Then you got Sasha and Bayley for the Women's Championship. It's a great three-headed beast right there for SummerSlam. You ain't going to get any complaints out of me. Except for Brock Lesnar winning the WWE Championship. On paper, that looks like a great show. But Lesnar should not be back in that title picture at all. I don't give a fuck who he is. And if you agree and justify Lesnar being in that position, you are absolutely a detriment to the product. You don't know what the fuck needs to happen. You just follow along like a little lemming, and that's all you do. You're a complete piece of unintelligent garbage if you want Brock Lesnar back in that position. I mean that wholeheartedly. And I'll say that right to your face. WWE should not be putting Lesnar in that position. McIntyre and Orton. That's the way to go. If there's one thing to do, that's what you do. I don't care. At this point, I don't even give a shit if Brock Lesnar comes back. There's nothing more for Brock Lesnar to do. There's really nothing else I want to see out of Brock Lesnar outside of a match with Matt Riddle. And that is basically it. That is it. Charlotte Flair. She's injured. Injured. Asterisk next to the word injured, by the way. She's off TV, which is a great thing, by the way. I seen some fucking article by Ringside News or one of these fucking idiotic dirt sheets. The WWE needs Charlotte Flair. WWE needs Charlotte Flair. I'd love for you to scrounge up the fucking ratings that show me and tell me that WWE needs Charlotte Flair. They need Charlotte Flair like I need fucking whatever. I need a new fucking monitor for my gaming sessions. That's how badly WWE needs Charlotte. I don't need one. I don't need one. I need a new microphone like WWE needs Charlotte Flair. I don't need one. I got the best mic in the business. You fucking serious? Charlotte Flair is not needed in the WWE. Do you even realize the amount of talent that is being held back for Charlotte Flair? The amount of talent that WWE has not even portrayed on TV yet? Where the fuck is Bianca Belair? That's what I'm waiting for. I'd love for somebody to ask that fucking question. Why isn't Shayna Baszler on TV? Why hasn't Ruby Riott been used? Where the fuck is Naomi? During Monday's episode of Raw, they did an injury angle, a terrible one, involving Charlotte Flair. She was attacked by Nia Jax. At some points, every Monday, we're all attacked by Nia Jax, emotionally. Nobody wants to see her on TV. We're all mentally attacked by Nia Jax when Monday's Raw comes on and she's involved in an angle. After this angle, WWE issued a storyline update that noted it's believed she may have suffered a potential collarbone injury. Sure she did. Sure she did. Flair brawled with Jax before losing to Asuka. Later in the show, Jax attacked Flair backstage where she completely no-sold the injury angle. No-sold it. The greatest of all time, people say. She can't sell a fucking backstage attack. Awful. It's like I was watching a fucking comedy show. I laughed. I don't know whether to laugh or cry over the fact that Charlotte Flair is no-selling this and off TV now. I don't know. Now, there are mixed reports about how long Flair will be away. Hopefully it's quite a long time because WWE, again, let me reiterate, doesn't need Charlotte Flair on television. Dave Meltzer reported on The Observer Live that the reason Flair was written off TV was due to her needing surgery. For what? I don't know. Actually, I do know, but I'm not going to say it here. And you know as well. Meltzer noted that nobody knows the time frame of when she'll be able to return. It was hinted to him that WWE hopes she'll be back by SummerSlam. And that triple threat match with Asuka and Nia Jax is happening, folks. Just give them time. Charlotte Flair will be a 27-time Raw Women's Champion? I've lost count. Because more title reigns equals greatest of all time. But nobody takes into account that she lost the title 26 times before that. Not one memorable fucking reign can I think of when I think of Charlotte Flair and all the titles that she's held. Not one. Yes, that's a great champion by people's standards nowadays in the community. It's a great champion. Why wasn't Shayna Baszler involved in this attack? Why didn't Shayna Baszler come out and attack Charlotte Flair? She's not even on TV. Could have had Shayna Baszler injure Charlotte. Why does Nia Jax need to injure Charlotte Flair? It's like they're just throwing it in your face that Nia Jax is a fucking detriment to the women's roster. Yes, she legitimately hurts people, so we'll book it in a storyline that she actually hurts Charlotte Flair. Ha 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 ha. It's exactly what they did. That's their mentality here. Yeah, we'll just have Nia Jax do it and troll the audience. Because she really injures people, and then we'll do a storyline angle where she does actually injure Charlotte Flair in the angle, but not legitimately. That's exactly what they did. Now, the SummerSlam match is happening. Asuka's losing the title, no question. PW Insider is reporting that Charlotte Flair is expected to be out of action for 6 weeks. 6 weeks! So that means she won't be back by SummerSlam. PW Insider and Mike Johnson says 6 weeks. She is not injured or sick. Charlotte is reportedly getting elective surgery. You guys know what that is. I don't need to explain what elective surgery is. Let me reiterate this. She's not injured or sick, but she's getting elective surgery. It's not specific what kind of elective surgery she's getting. You know. Don't fool me. Last night's angle where Nia Jax attacked Charlotte Flair was on Raw this week, Monday, where Nia Jax attacked Charlotte Flair was on Raw, was done to explain Flair taking an expected 6 weeks off of WWE television. You gotta love WWE, man. You gotta love how sly they are. Now, normally, if you're going to have an injury angle play out on TV, right, there's no reason for said person who was injured to come back and get a title match at SummerSlam like we all expect Charlotte Flair to do. But WWE took it upon themselves. They put thought into this because it's Charlotte Flair, right? They put thought into this because it's Charlotte Flair. How sly they are. They have Charlotte Flair get attacked by Nia in the beginning of the show. They have Charlotte go into the Asuka match injured. They have Charlotte Flair lose said match due to injury. They have Nia then exacerbate the injury via this backstage attack. And then she's out. So this gives WWE the leeway. This gives WWE the in when Charlotte Flair comes back to television for her to chime in and say, hey, I got fucked over. I deserve another shot. And then she wins the championship. Because if none of this happened, then she would come back and get a championship match and everybody would be like, why? Why is this happening? Why is she doing that? Blah, blah, blah. So WWE covered their own asses here because Charlotte Flair. See what they did there. Now, Nia Jax and Charlotte Flair. This took Charlotte Flair off of TV. Flair will be undergoing elective surgery during this time. She is not injured or sick. So Alex McCarthy of Talk Sport also reported on Monday that Flair will be taking an extended break from WWE as she's getting surgery done in addition to taking some personal time. Sources were quoted in the article by stating there is a 0% chance Charlotte returns for SummerSlam. This is Alex McCarthy of Talk Sport saying that there's a 0% chance she comes back for SummerSlam, which would be great. Then that means WWE's got to switch up their plans for the Women's Championship. Based on the second report, this could be the reason why people Meltzer spoke with weren't sure whether Flair would be back by SummerSlam. Sources have told Talk Sport that Flair will be taking an extended break from WWE. The 34-year-old has been on a constant rotation for the shows for years, and she's going to be taking some personal time and having some surgery. The idea is that she will return around Royal Rumble season next year, but if a good story pops up before then, around Survivor Series, she would be open to return later this year. Oh, really? WWE's going to keep Charlotte Flair off of television when she's only going to be out for 6 weeks? Yeah, right. Some have criticized WWE for having Flair written off TV by Nia Jax instead of Asuka. They could have went with Asuka or Shayna Baszler, one or the other. Could have put Shayna Baszler in that spot just to kind of get her back on TV and really make a splash. Or it could have been Asuka. Just have Asuka do the job. She's the women's champion. Have her look strong. But you can't have Asuka look strong in that situation because Charlotte's going to be the one to take the title off of Charlotte Flair. Or Charlotte's going to be the one to take the title off Asuka. That's why they don't want Asuka to look strong in that case. She's going to drop the title to Charlotte Flair. Now, of course, this isn't a real injury, says Alex McCarthy, and is simply put in place for Flair to have a rest. It's believed that WWE debated having Asuka be the one to put Flair out before settling on Nia Jax. Like I said, let me reiterate. They don't want Asuka to look too strong because Charlotte's going to take the title off of Asuka, so they opted to go with the trolling method of Nia Jax really injuring people legitimately, and they just put that now into storyline where she injured Charlotte Flair per storyline. Flair has worked 3 brands, Raw, NXT, and SmackDown the majority of the year. Then Ric Flair gave his usual bullshit excuse as to why his daughter was off TV. He says this, I'm actually hoping that when she finishes her commitments up at SummerSlam, so she will be at SummerSlam. Just right there, right in the first sentence, she will be at SummerSlam. But she's going to be out past SummerSlam, according to Alex McCarthy, whose sources clearly were wrong. I have no idea when. I know she has a TV series looking at her and she's got fitness people wanting to do work with her. I hope that she takes as long as she wants off so that all these people that can fill her shoes and do that every night have the opportunity, and God bless that thought. Oh, so Rick wants other people to come on in and fill her shoes. Is that what he's saying? Surprised by that. Flair was then asked whether Charlotte would be taking time off after SummerSlam. No. I'm saying that I would assume she's going to do SummerSlam. I'm saying that I hope she goes to the company because she's been actively pursued for a series. I can't give any more information than that. And I just hope that she goes and says, hey, I want to take some time off, even though the WWE appreciates me, and you can write down my name every day. The fans don't seem to get it. Hey, somebody else, come along and see what you got. To all the people I'm holding back, have at it. I'm serious. If I were her, then I would say that. I would say, stick it. I'm so mad about that. One mark after another. We're tired of seeing her. Good. Watch her on TV in another event. She's a millionaire. She can do what she wants to do. And she's a millionaire because of the company. There you go. Man, oh man. Flair shilling for his daughter, bro. Because she's the only fucking meal ticket he has left. Sad scenes. Really is a sad scene. One mark after another. We're tired of seeing her. Yeah, we're tired of seeing her. We're tired of seeing her get by because she's your daughter, bro. Rick was also quick to support the suggestion that his daughter was WWE's biggest active star up until the decision to take some time away. I know she's the biggest star. No, she's not. She's the best wrestler, too. No, she's not. She's not even the best wrestler on her brand. Not even the best wrestler in the women's division. Fucking idiot. I don't believe these people. You know what I mean? I swear to God, it makes me so damn mad. These people say, oh, you're holding back. Okay, well, you know what? The only way to find out who we're holding back is turn it over to them. Or is turn it over to them. I'll give you the list of names they keep running by me that the media keeps bringing up. Give it to them. Let's see them stick a moonsault every night. Is this guy fucking mental? Let me see them stick a moonsault every night. Rick, I think, bro, you've had enough. Folks, take the wheelchair and bring it on in and roll him into the fucking nursing home, please. Had enough of this guy. Let them stick a moonsault every night. First of all, she sticks a moonsault and fucking fucks it up every night. I don't know if you noticed. Maybe you might be going blind, too. Sticks a moonsault every night. Lacey Evans does a better moonsault than Charlotte Flair. Bianca Belair could do a 450. I don't see her on fucking TV. You fucking serious? Unreal. Let's see them do a corkscrew moonsault off the top rope onto 5 people. I see it every fucking week. I see it every week done by multiple people. But Charlotte Flair does it every week. Every night. Give them a great match. Not a good match every time out. Come on. Name the 5 women that could do that. Name the 2. I just named the 1. Hilarious, folks. It's like a comedy show. I could write a fucking comedy script and fucking sell it to Hollywood just based off what I read here. It's like a fucking full-blown comedy. It really is. Unreal. So, regarding Charlotte Flair, we know Rick is a shill and completely unintelligent and just absolutely lost in every sense of the word. There's one thing about sticking up for your daughter, and there's one thing for sticking up for your daughter in this manner. This is just unintelligent dribble. That's all it is. Charlotte Flair then reveals when she'll be back on TV. I'll be gone for a few weeks. A few weeks, meaning SummerSlam. They can still play things on the WWE Network, but utilizing my social media will be the most important while I'm gone. Charlotte Flair will be back by SummerSlam. Folks, Dave Meltzer then confirmed that Charlotte Flair will be back by SummerSlam to engage in a 3-way feud with Nia Jax and Asuka. So that is that. That is that. I don't know why or how I got through all of that, man. It is downright fucking awful. It really is. Moving on away from this Charlotte Flair shit, because she's off TV. You might as well enjoy it now before we got to be thrusted back into the Android realm on Monday night. Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows offered deals, lucrative deals by Impact Wrestling. Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows have been working towards signing with a promotion in the United States. A lot of people think they'll end up with AEW. I don't think so. It appears that hard work will pay off, as Pro Wrestling Sheet and He Who Shall Not Be Named reports that the former WWE stars are close to finalizing deals in the United States. Per the report, Impact Wrestling could be their next destination, as the promotion has been heavily pursuing the tag team in order for them to appear at Slammiversary. Impact reportedly offered Gallows and Anderson incredibly strong deals that would allow them to work in New Japan, and that is a possibility. Dave Meltzer first reported that Anderson and Gallows were looking to make separate deals in the United States and internationally. A deal with New Japan and a potential deal in the U.S. was to be believed with Impact. Impact VP Scott D'Amore had a long history with Gallows and Anderson, which makes the deal even more possible. Impact has been airing advertisements for Slammiversary for weeks now that feature the former TNA stars, released from WWE back in April. Gallows and Anderson are part of these videos. Impact has also been teasing the arrival of a former WWE World Champion. As noted, Gallows and Anderson will be making their official announcements regarding their future plans on July 18th. This is when their no-compete clauses with WWE are up. Now, that's great for them. Go and make your money. But I'm going to simply say this right here, right now, and move on from this, and I can get the fuck out of here. WWE ruined these guys beyond belief. They're off now. They're free agents. They're doing their own thing. They're going to sign with Impact Wrestling. Great. They'll make a splash at Slammiversary. They'll be the talk of the town for 24 hours. And then legitimately after that, here in the United States, nobody will give a shit. Nobody will give a shit. They're going to sign another lucrative deal for a company that fucking sucks. and they're going to sign a lucrative deal with Impact Wrestling, make a splash at Slammiversary, and then the next time they're on TV, legitimately, I give them 1 week, their relevancy is going to go right back to where it was in the WWE. Dead. People will talk about them at Slammiversary. Come that Monday, nobody will be talking about them. So what's the point? Who gives a shit? Gallows and Anderson are going to sign with Impact Wrestling. Great. For one appearance, and they'll be the talk of the wrestling world for one appearance. What are they going to do? Who are they going to be with? What actions are they going to take? What role are they going to play at the pay-per-view? And then come Monday, nobody gives a shit. Then they'll go to New Japan and be bigger in Japan than they are in Impact Wrestling, and they'll be robbing Impact Wrestling blind of the fucking lucrative deal they're being offered. Great. Go make your money and work for a promotion that legitimately nobody gives a shit about while you're over in New Japan working for a promotion that a lot of people give a shit about. I could not give a single shit about where Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows end up. It's like they're going backwards going to Impact Wrestling. Finally, Sarah Logan. You guys remember her? Yeah. I don't either. She's married to the Viking. Former WWE superstar Sarah Logan announced on her Instagram that she will be stepping away from professional wrestling. Logan was among the wrestlers released in April due to budget cuts and will be a free agent on July 15, but it sounds like she has other things in mind other than wrestling. She says this on her Instagram. A lot has changed in my life recently, and I've stepped away from wrestling for the foreseeable future. Wrestling is all I've known since I was 17, so it's time I let focus on myself, on other things, and explored other parts of myself. My Instagram is going to be different, but I promise it will reflect me. So if you want to take this crazy ride, then buckle up because things have been moving faster than I could keep up. My efforts have been on at the Wild and Free TV. And that's the best way to keep up. We're releasing some awesome content. I don't say this enough, but I always appreciate you guys and hope to see you down the line. Wrestling's been all she had since 17. She'll be back eventually. She's going to clear her mind because the WWE poison was just too much. So she's going to do her and then eventually come back to a promotion that genuinely is going to show her respect. But I appreciate her walking away. Can't be that easy of a thing to do. But that's what WWE does, man. All the neglect and all the disrespect and all the just beating you down week after week after week and making you feel unimportant and just not valued. That's where it ends up. People just want to walk away from the one thing that they love to do. This is an instance, and this is not the only instance. This happens everywhere, but you just don't hear about it. WWE, if you walk away from WWE, if you walk away from wrestling, like Sarah Logan has, that's the effect that WWE has on you. WWE, legitimately, if you're signed with them and then you're let go after a fucking terrible stint like Sarah Logan had, WWE kills all of the love and the passion that you had for this business, and you cannot run any faster away from it. I commend her. Do I think she'll be back? Absolutely. But I wish her the best, and I wish that she does find happiness in this time away from WWE. Guys, I'm getting out of here. Hopefully you enjoyed the podcast. Let me know what you think down below. I will be back on Monday night with Raw. Obviously, with Raw. It's taped, and we'll go over it. Hopefully something big happens. I'm not holding my breath, but I'll be back for Monday Night Raw. If you missed any of the podcast this weekend, if you missed any of the content on the channel, links are down below in the description of this very video. Go and check all of that stuff out. Follow me on Twitter at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Hit that thumbs up. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Harrys.com/script for your trial set right there. Get Harry's today. And Mouthmasker.com. Go and get Mouthmasker.com and get your off the script official merchandise. That is Mouthmasker.com/OTS. Thank you guys so very much. And I'll be back on Monday for a brand new week of content, starting with Monday Night Raw. Until then, again, hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you right back here on Raw. Have a great weekend, guys.